Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Guys, we're going to just jump into it. I have my Bible app pulled up in front of me. So if you see me looking down, I'm looking at the Word of God. I am on YouTube and I am on TikTok. So you're going to see me looking back and forth. But yes, let's get started. So it is your level of faith is what is necessary for the season that you are walking through. To have a high level of faith is really necessary for most of us, for all of us, really. But most of us who are walking in the season of unknown uncertainty. Some of us have been laid off from jobs, have started businesses, have, walked through things, medical situations that have sent us scrambling to try to figure out why is this happening the way that it's happening. Maybe certain things didn't go as planned. Maybe you're like, okay, I thought it was this thing that I heard from God, but now it seems like it is not, the right thing to do. And so I am here today to give you some confirmation that it is by your faith that the thing will work. When you walk with God, you talk with God, you've gotten the confirmation. You're like, okay, He's told me to do X, Y, and Z. And you did the thing. It started to move, it started to shake. The customers started coming, the things started popping off for you, and then everything comes to a halt. You're like, okay, I thought this is what you told me to do. I thought that you said go here. I thought that you said do this. And God is looking for you to have a greater level of faith in this next season, in this next go round. Because what level of faith that you had previously, it unlocked that level that you were going into. Hear me when I say that. It unlocked your first level. The level of faith that you had in the previous season unlocked your first level to open the door for you to do the thing, for you to be able to start the business, for you to be able to get the customers, for you to be able to walk out your job, for you to be able to have income and support your family in that first season. But then when another season comes, there's a different type of faith that you must have. And sometimes we're stuck at the season one faith or the first level faith when we need the season two or the second step of faith, because there's an elevation that is happening. And as we elevate, the testing is going to get more. The faith that we need to have is greater. And this really helps us to really depend on God in these seasons, because we really, when you're stepping out on faith, you really, really have to believe that God is walking with you, that He's going to provide for you. And I'm saying this from experience because, y'all, it is life and entrepreneurship is like this, okay? Um, it goes up, it goes down, and you're like, okay, what do I need to do? You got to tap into God and you got to say to God, look, you gave me this thing. How am I supposed to do this? Help me to have faith in this season of my life. Because right now, my faith is shaky. Be honest. My faith is shaky. I need you to give me more faith. I need you to increase my faith. I need you to give me the strength to move forward, the wisdom to move forward. Yesterday, I was on with a client. Hello, 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 hello. I was on with a client yesterday and we were talking about um, and she has a business, and she also has a book that I helped her to create her cover and get some things going for herself when it comes to her business. And so we were just meeting and just going over certain things that she is ready to shift into. And she was talking about how things have changed and how her mind has opened up, but she realized that she needed to have a greater level of faith. And I'm like, that is such a word, because we don't realize that we have to have faith for this journey. When you are looking at, because let me just give you some stats here. In June, there were 177 million 1.77 million, let me correct myself, job layoffs that happened in the month of June, but there were only 57,000 jobs created. Did you hear what I said? There were a staggering amount of jobs that were lost, but there were only 57,000 jobs created within the same month. So you have more people. And the jobs report, here's the other part, guys, for you all who are new to me, and come on in, tell me where you're from. For you all who are new to me, my background is law and public policy, and I used to work as an analyst for the Department of Labor for the government. And some of the numbers to me did not make logical sense, because I'm like, if you're layoffs and there's not enough jobs being created, there's a deficit of jobs being created each and every month, and you give us numbers as to, based on the people who say that they're unemployed, there are a lot of people who are not seeking unemployment. There are a lot of people who don't even qualify, quote unquote, for unemployment, because some jobs won't even pay for unemployment after they have laid off people. There are some people who have been denied unemployment. So these numbers are not, or the the numbers that they give us, to me, in that, are not accurate, because um they're not reflective of what is happening in real time. They're not accounting for people who are not actually filing for unemployment because they know that their job said, okay, we're not going to give that to you, or their job did not give them that. So there's some discrepancy in the numbers. And so what I did for the Department of Labor, we'll talk about that at a later date. But I just see that that is an issue. But I want to talk to you about stepping out on faith and creating your own lane. Stepping out on faith and knowing that God is going to take care of you and your family. Those of you who also have followed me, you know that I advocate for disability rights and for families. I have a nonprofit and a mobile app that connects families to resources and services. And I also connect businesses to those families as well through our mobile app. Now, so I actually have an array of things that I do, array of experiences, but my ultimate goal is to transform the lives of millions of people globally. So this is all encompassing of the main goal. But my goal right here today is to confirm, is to tell you that it is your faith that is going to move the needle. It is your faith that is going to bring forth the blessings. It is your faith that is going to help you to bring forth the income for your family. But you have to have faith in God. You have to have faith in your creator. You cannot have faith in a system that is has unbalanced scales. The system has unbalanced scales, and it's not really in the favor of people. It may seem like it. You might be like, well, it used to be. It was not really that. Because why are we taught to work? And we're taught to work hard. If you work really, really hard, you're gonna achieve all of these things. How many businessmen, if you look at millionaires and billionaires, it wasn't the fact that they just worked super duper hard that got them the money. There was a level of faith. Some of them will say God helped them. Some of them will say, I believed in myself. There was a level of faith that had to be achieved in order to do the thing. And so they know that if they are in control of the jobs that they create, you said they took a calculated risk. They did take a calculated risk, but some risks are not necessarily calculated. If you get laid off your job tomorrow, will you have time to calculate that risk? Absolutely not. You won't, because you may not even see it coming. Jobs don't always say we're going to do a layoff. Sometimes they'll say, oh, maybe they'll announce, okay, we're going to lay off, a couple people in this department. We're downsizing a little bit. We have to, balance the budget or whatever, however they word it. But what if it was a mass layoff that winded up happening behind it? What if you walked into your job tomorrow or even today and they said, we're laying off 200 people, 300 people? This is the reality of a lot of jobs that, or employers of today, or a lot of things that people are facing today, and especially in the last 2 years. Guys, I was one of the people that was laid off from the government 2 years ago, but I had a business, nonprofit, and all of the things. Was I ready to be laid off? Absolutely not. They didn't tell us to the last minute. So I'm telling you something from experience. They're not going to always tell you. And it's not always calculated. You can plan all you want to. But sometimes those plans don't go always as planned. Okay. So I'm just telling you that uh you have to connect with God to have a level of faith like no other, because when you depend on the system to give you the income to provide for your family, you're taking a risk every day when you walk into those doors, because you really don't know. You really don't know what you're facing when you walk in. You don't know if they're going to say, I still have a job. You don't know. It's really uncertain. Job security is today is not the job security of yesterday. It's not the same thing. The employers do not have the same loyalty they once had. Think about those who worked 20, 30 years and got pensions and benefits and all of the things, and they were able to save money or buy homes. The American quote unquote dream is not the same American dream that it was 30 years ago. It does not work the same way. It's taking people longer because the cost of everything is so much more higher than what it once was. And so you're spending more money at the grocery store. You're spending more money on gas. You're spending more money on vehicles, on housing, on a lot of different things that didn't cost that much. I'm going to give you an example. The apartment that I once lived in, when I got into that apartment 10 years ago, it was $720. I'm pretty sure that same apartment was $400 or $500 prior to that. It was $720. When I left that apartment a few years back, that same apartment, no upgrades, no anything. They didn't install new cabinets, new anything. That same apartment doubled in price. Same exact apartment, didn't switch. So the cost of everything is skyrocketing. And so it's harder to necessarily plan. And so, in these times, this is when you have to have a level of faith that God will supply all of your needs according to his riches and glory. You have to have a level of faith, and this faith will change from season to season depending on where it is that God is taking you. And as you increase, you have to have a greater level of faith. I like the book Crazy Faith by Michael Todd. I actually have it on the other side of the computer. It's sitting by my printer. And that book is so amazing. I'm going to tell you all to go get that book. I'm not being paid for this, but go get that book because it talks about having baby faith, having the faith of, the size of a mustard seed. And, but that same faith can't take you into your crazy faith season when you're believing God for a six-figure building, or when you're believing God to take your business to, a multi-billion dollar revenue generating business that's going to provide for so many families, that's going to put food on people's tables and do all the things. That little baby faith has to be big crazy faith, so it has to grow. And then there's different faith seasons in the middle. I like how he breaks that down. Guys, please go get that book. But your level of faith has to be so crazy in some seasons that it does not make sense. Guys, what God does when he takes us away from what we have known to be our routine and our norm, when he takes us out of that thing, it's gonna look crazy. It's gonna look like we done lost our minds because we're operating at a different place from everyone else. While everyone else is working in 9 to 5, we got to set our own schedule. We got to have the discipline to get up. And sometimes it might take where you say, God, I need to have the discipline. Give me the discipline to get up so that I can do the things that you call me to do. There might be where you have to say, God, I need you to set my schedule to tell me what I need to do from hour to hour or day to day. What is it that I need to focus on, and focus on that thing? This is why you also have to ask to hear him clearly. But I want to give you some examples of faith. So here, right here, I'm in Hebrews 11:1. So this is great examples of faith, guys. Now, faith is the substance of things hoped for and the evidence of things not seen. For by it, the elders obtain a good testimony. By faith, we understand that the worlds were framed by the word of God, so that things which are seen were not made of things that were visible. That means that he spoke the thing. He believed that he would do the thing, and he spoke the thing. He gave it to us. He gave us the same power to believe that we can create the thing. We are creators. Why do you think that all of these platforms were made? Man has tapped into understanding that we are creators. We have the power to create. These platforms help us to create. This is a time where people are creating businesses and different content at the rate like none other. This is a time that we have never seen before. So many people who are entrepreneurs in different arenas, and especially in the creator space. And so, but this was something that God placed in us as human beings to possess the power to create. We are to create income streams for our family, for our generations, for legacy, for other people. We are to create to help others, to help the poor, to create a system that is actually polar, because God's kingdom is polar opposite of the world system. This is why it doesn't look the same. This is why it looks like you're in foreign land. And you are. It's foreign territory. But here's the great examples of faith. So Abel. Abel brought an acceptable offering to God, and it was through his faith that he did so, and God showed his approval. Enoch was taken into heaven without dying. We know today that we ain't seen that with our own eyes. We've not seen that. When people pass, they pass, right? Noah built an ark based on his faith. He followed God's instructions, and it was faith. Hear me. And he saved his family based on his faith. I'm going to tell you that some of you all, and I'm not going to say some, I'm going to say all of you have something inside of you that God is telling you to create, telling you to do, because it will set your family free. It will set your lineage free. It will set your generations free, and it will set other people free. Guys, you are not sent here just to work for someone for the rest of your life. That's not what God put you here for. You were put here with a purpose, and your purpose is to set your generations free. You are the generational wealth creator, the generational curse breaker. You are the one who will be able to help so many different people by your faith and your obedience. The next person we have up here is Abraham. Abraham left his familiar surroundings to go to a place, to a land that God gave him an inheritance from his obedience. He didn't know where he was going. For some of us, we're walking in a season of, we don't know where we're going. We just know that God said, do the thing. There was a lady that was asking for assistance. This was earlier before I got on here, because she said uh, God told her to start a business, and the business started to profit in the first year. She's in year two, and things have dipped. And she's like, did I get it wrong? Did I, maybe I need to go back, but I'm willing to accept any job. I'm willing to do all of, whatever I need to do. But the thing is, you may not have got it wrong. Your level of faith has to be different, because he just delivered you out of a season of um bondage. Because the think about the 9 to 5 wheel, and I'm not speaking necessarily against 9 to 5 jobs. I'm just telling you, when he delivers you from a thing, think about going back to the thing. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And when he delivers you from the thing, jobs take up your space. They take up your mental space. They take up your time. When you're trying to create, it will stifle your creativity, because what are you doing? You're focused on whatever your employer has you tasked with. And the thing is, when do you have the time to actually create what God called you to create? When do you have the time to do the things that you were wanting to do, that you had the desire to do? You most times you don't. I'm going to tell you from my own experience. When I created my event planning business, it was at a season that I was actually unemployed. This was about 14 years ago, 14, 12, 14 years ago. And it was at a season where I was unemployed. Guys, I had time to create. It was event planning. And I like to create things and make them beautiful. That's just like me at my core, like the nature of me. I thrive in creating things. And so while I was working, before I worked as a teacher, before that, I worked as a teacher. That was my second job, and then I worked at a university. Um, while I was earning my master's degree. I worked at a university. When I was working at the university, I didn't have time to be doing nothing outside of that, to be creating any type of business, anything, because my mind was tied up with, okay, I have to help the students do this. I got to make sure that they're trained to do this. Okay, they came in and they're seeking help on how to do this program, so now I got to help them do that. I didn't have time to do that, and when I got off, child, I was tired. I was tired of talking. I had to deal with companies that came in and rented the space. Had to make sure that the things that they needed was available to them. And y'all, I did not have time to focus on event planning. It wasn't until I made the decision, and this was God, because I didn't have a plan, but I was tired. I was tired of working, not feeling appreciated, not feeling like, I was really truly being seen for all the work that I was doing. And I was like, I'm not getting paid enough for this. I go over and beyond every day, day in, day out, every single day. Even my boss was taking credit for my work, y'all. Come on, how many of y'all can say that y'all bosses take credit for your work? And you be like, for real? Seriously? I done did X, Y, and Z, and now you taking credit for the work and the time and my brain power? Come on, how many of y'all can say that your bosses have done you the same way? Sometimes God is trying to show us that we can put that same energy into the thing that He has for us. We just have to ask Him what He has for us in that season. And what He has for you in that season may not look like the next season, but you can take that same energy, you can take those same skill sets, you can take that same worker bee mentality and pump out the vision that God has for you, that will bring forth so much for your family. Take a chance. Ask God and have faith. I'm telling you, when He's in the building, it might look shaky. Go with your knees knocking. It ain't gonna look like, all your ducks in a row. It's gonna look real crazy. The world's gonna tell you to have your ducks in a row. And I love my pastor, because he was talking about how the world tells you all of these things, and they're like, you gotta have this and this. And I bet my core am a person that likes to have everything in order. Y'all, hear me. Being on this entrepreneurship journey since 2014 has taught me that all the ducks won't always be in a row. That you got to go when God tell you to go, and it ain't gonna look like what everybody else says it's gonna look like. It's not gonna look like what the rest of the world say it look like. And He will bring you opportunities out of the blue. He has brought me clients that say, "Oh, I saw the work that you did on this, or I saw the post that you made with this, or I saw this, or this person told me about this." He's so strategic. He will send people to be your client, to be that customer. Guys, when I started my beauty business after the event planning, y'all, but let me go back to the event planning really quickly. I was in rooms like networking, and in networking, it was okay. But most of those people were not event planners. They were like Mary Kay ladies and all of the things. So their networking was different from actually creating a business. It's different when you're earning income within a system. It is a little different. But when I started to put myself out there was companies that was like, we need you. We need you to do fundraising. We need you to do this. Guys, and they had an unlimited budget. Like they was like, dude, I want you to pull out all the stops. These people did not know me from a can of paint. We were not like, uh in some type of business relationship that we really knew each other. They were just like, I told them what I offered. I showed them some of my concepts, and they was like, yes, God can do that. Even with the beauty business, started a beauty business, y'all. This was a season in my life, so I was working for the government at this time, and I was like, I've always wanted to. I loved beauty, lashes, and all of the things, and I was just like, okay, let me do this. I want women to look beautiful. I want them to feel beautiful. I want them to receive affirmations in every package, so that it just encourages them, right? And so I did the beauty business, but y'all, it took me it took me about a year to get it off the ground because I was testing out products, hair, looking for vendors, doing my research actually. So I will tell you, sometimes you really do have to research certain things depending on what it is. But when it comes to those customers, God brought me my customers. I was selling in person and online. This was almost 10 years ago, actually, when I started the beauty business. We almost at the 10-year mark. And so from there, my customers were online before really online was a thing. Like they were buying from my website. And I was shipping hair and lashes to them before everybody else was doing this. In 2020, there was a boom of this, but I was already doing it. So it's like God had me do the thing before the thing became popular. Even event planning wasn't popular when I was doing it. You talking about 14 years ago? Event planning was not popular, y'all. I could barely find somebody to help me with the setup and breakdown and all of the things because they didn't see it as important. Okay, it wasn't popular. God would have you ahead of the game, just like he had Noah ahead of the game. The rain was coming, the flood was coming, and God was like, Noah, my dude, I need you to build this ark. This is going to save your family. Sometimes it is about saving your family from what's to come. So he has to take you out of the thing, or he has to download the thing in you and say, okay, now I need you to move. And you got to move not knowing what the next step is. Abraham didn't know his next step. He looking around like this is a foreign land. This is foreign territory. Y'all, let me know if you feel me. If you feel me. Sarah, let's talk about my girl Sarah. She bore a child when she thought she was barren, thought when it was thought that she was barren. Let me correct. And that she was too old. How many women doctors have told you all that you couldn't have a kid, that the way that things looked, the thing wasn't going to happen? Some of us have been told that certain things weren't going to happen for us because of our situations and our circumstances or our finances. Let me tell you, when Sarah said, no, my God said, so I'm going to believe this promise that he said. Now, it didn't happen for her right away. Child, it took some time, okay? But she had faith that God was going to do what he said he was going to do. And what happened? She bore a child. It's the same thing with us. Having faith, that crazy faith, that faith to say, I'm going to stand on what God promised me, regardless of what everybody else is saying, regardless of what my situation is, regardless of my circumstance. I'm going to stand on what God is saying. And he will never leave me or forsake me. He always fulfills his promises. So I know that he's going to fulfill his promise. Maybe it's not today. Maybe it's not tomorrow. Maybe, it's a month from now, or maybe it's a year from now. Guys, I have realized that God has given me what I have prayed for in previous seasons of my life. It may not have come when I thought it should have come, but y'all, when I tell you he has come through in such a major way, in different seasons of my life, I have books of things that I want to accomplish because God has given me so many different visions for different things. I have a vision board that has all of these things there. And so all of that stuff and I wrote out like my dreams and what I want God to do and all of the things. And when I tell you that God has come through, oh, he has come through. I want you to believe that he is going to come through. I want y'all to say he is going to come through. What you believe to happen, it will happen. He's going to come through. Moses, check Moses out. Check my dude Moses out, okay? So Moses, his parents, it started with his parents. Sometimes y'all, it starts with you as a parent. Sometimes the promise started with your parents. Sometimes you got to pay attention, but it started with his parents. He was hidden. He was hidden for a season because they knew, it was like, we're gonna, my child is different. He is set apart. I can't have my child being killed. Remember that it was a demand that the children were killed. The sons, the firstborn, those that they were killed. It happened actually a couple times. And so Moses actually wound up experiencing the same thing again under Pharaoh as an adult. But here's the thing, he was in a different position. He wasn't that baby that was being hidden from the thing. He was the one that was called to be the deliverer, to set the people free. So the very thing that he came in with was the very thing that God used for him to be the deliverer in another season. Follow me. Follow me. God had to receive the God gave Moses the instructions, and Moses had to receive the instructions. He had to walk with God and have faith that whatever God was telling him to do, that was what he was to do. He had to have faith that God knows what is best. Sometimes we like, Lord, I don't know. Do you really know? He does know. It's us that's shaky, right? Because we like, our human minds can't conceive the plans that God has for us. But he says that his plans are perfect. His plans for us are to give us a future and a hope. It is not to harm us. So that means that his plan for us is perfect. Now, can we say that we always feel like our plans are perfect? No. When we get emotional because somebody has done something to us, y'all, we be ready to nuck and buck and do all of the things. God don't operate the way that we operate. He don't do what we do. He don't have the ups and downs and the influx of the emotions that we do. So he's like, I have a direction for you to go in. I have a plan for you to go do this thing. It is not based on emotion. It is based on the direction that he has for your life from the beginning. Y'all, I just want to tell you that it is your faith. It is your faith that will carry you through. It is your faith that will bring forth the blessings that God has for you. It is your faith that will bring the next client. It is your faith that will bring forth the generational wealth. But I will also tell you that that faith will require a different level of obedience. Because hear me, in all of these instances, even with Rahab, anybody in the Bible, Job, uh, Hosea, y'all, Hosea married a whole harlot. Some of y'all men be like, y'all toss a woman away for uh small things. That's a big thing. Hosea, God gave him instructions. It required obedience. And with every last person in the Bible, it required a level of obedience that was like none other for them to receive the thing that God has for them. Faith requires obedience, y'all. And that obedience is going to feel, it's going to feel like a tugging, a pulling, because our flesh wants what the flesh wants, right? But you have to tell your flesh to get in alignment with God. You have to call your flesh, your mind, your body into order, into alignment with God so that you don't have to wander, for 40 years. The children of Israel, they was out there, y'all. They was out there. And some of us have been out there. We have delayed what God has for us because of our disobedience. You got to be in obedience. You got to be in alignment. You can't just go, when He has a calling on your life, you can't just go do any and everything. Okay? When He has given you directions, you just can't go and do any and everything. You have to follow what He is saying, because you may not receive the promise if you veer off the path, or it might take you longer. He might allow you to set people free, but then you may not walk into the same territory or the same land that you set the people free in. So you have to stay in obedience and alignment. This is something that I pray, because I'm not perfect. None of us are perfect, guys, but I will say I'm not perfect. And so there are times when I'll be like, Lord, you said, and this is a little rough, this is a little tough, but I need you. I'm feeling a little shaky. I'm feeling a little nervous. Be honest, be candid. Because now you like, I need you to strengthen me. I need you to strengthen me in every area of my life. I need you to give me wisdom in every area so that I can carry out what you have for me. Do not allow me to falter or go by the wayside. Do not allow me to mishandle what you have given me. Let me be a good steward over the things that you have given me. Guys, ask Him. Ask your God, because He shall supply all of your needs. But the thing is, you have to ask Him. You got to have faith that He'll do it, and you got to walk in obedience. You guys, I pray that this blessed you today. And know that you are here to set your family free, to set your generations free, to change lives, to even change your children's life. Some of our assignments are to change our children's lives. Some of our assignments are to change the lives of people who have walked in the same paths we have, the same level of pain that we've walked through. God delivers us from certain situations to help us, just like Moses. There was a deliverance that happened from when he was a little thing. He wasn't, he didn't die like the rest of them. His parents saved him by being obedient, by having faith, by doing what God directed them to do. And then he became the deliverer of a people. We are the Moseses and the Abrahams of our generation. And so we are sent here to set people free. But you have to ask God to set you free from the mindset that is blocking you, that things that are blocking you from what He has for you. So I pray that this blesses you. And I thank you all for joining. You all are so amazing. God has so much in store for you. Make sure that you pray, God, give me faith. Give me so much faith to know that you would do exceedingly abundantly over all I could ever ask for or think. Lord, you know what I am dealing with. You know the things that are on my mind, the things that I might be worried about. I pray that you would give me peace in all of those areas. I pray that you would help me to have joy even in the midst of what I might be dealing with, Lord. But I need you to bring the resources that is going to help me to be able to be a good steward over everything that you have brought to me. You got to ask for this. You got to pray this. Lord, let my conduct and my character always match so that I can always be in alignment with you. Let me forever be in alignment with you. Let my generations be in alignment with you. Lord, show me in your word what you would have me to do. Show me what scripture that I need to speak over my life in this season, speak over my family in this season. Give me that and know that He will give you that. All right, amen. I pray that you were blessed by this, and I will see you tomorrow around the same time. You all have an amazing day. Okay, bye.